The movie begins with Kyle Miller, a diamond broker, driving down a country road in his convertible Porsche. He's on a phone call, trying to convince someone that he has a potential buyer for his diamond and that he'll make the deal without taking any commission. As he arrives at his sprawling gated waterfront home, he picks up a gold Zippo lighter by the pool and heads into the kitchen. In the kitchen, Sarah Miller and their teenage daughter Avery are arguing about a party that Avery wants to attend. Sarah informs Avery that her father has returned from a business trip and suggests having a family dinner together. Kyle, still on the phone, cautions Avery about older boys being present at the party and expresses his disapproval. Despite the ongoing call, Kyle kisses Sarah and proceeds to his office room. Eventually, Kyle reaches an agreement with the diamond buyer, assuring him that the deal will be completed in cash. After ending the call, Kyle appears visibly stressed. Meanwhile, Sarah takes out a new lingerie set, intending to seduce her husband. As Kyle opens an envelope from a wall safe in preparation for a meeting with a buyer, Sarah interrupts him and asks if he wants something to eat before they leave. Kyle explains that he's still on the phone and suggests they grab something to eat on the way. Sarah brings a tray of food upstairs for Avery, who is upset about not being allowed to attend the party. Sarah encourages Avery to eat, leaving the tray outside her room, and tells her not to rush growing up, though Avery remains disappointed about the cancelled plans for a family dinner. In another part of the house, Kyle enters an area that is under renovation, with bare wood studs and plastic sheeting. Meanwhile, Avery comes out of her room, locks the door, and sneaks out of the house. Her girlfriend is waiting outside, and they both discuss how Avery's parents see her as a bad influence, which they jokingly agree with. While driving, Kendra, Avery's friend, almost hit a tree but manages to regain control of the car. Back at home, Sarah blows out the candles she had set up for dinner, and Kyle arrives. Sarah asks him about his business trip to Houston, and Kyle mentions that he has been supplying diamonds to wealthy men for their mistresses. Kyle asks Sarah about Avery, to which Sarah responds that Avery hates her. Kyle clarifies that Avery doesn't hate Sarah but rather both of them. He shows Sarah the lighter he found, along with some cigarettes. Sarah tries to initiate romance, but Kyle explains that he has to leave. He tells her that the buyer is in town until 9 o'clock, and missing the meeting could jeopardize the entire deal. Kyle assures Sarah that everything he does is for her and Avery, to provide them with a wonderful life and keep them safe. Just as they're talking, the doorbell rings, and they see a police badge on the security video. The police are investigating neighborhood burglaries, and Kyle invites them in while asking Sarah to fetch Avery. Sarah knocks on Avery's door but finds it locked. She retrieves the keys and opens the door, only to realize that Avery is not in her room. Suddenly, 3 masked men and a woman invade the house. Sarah tries to drive away but is stopped at gunpoint during a large house party. Meanwhile, Avery joins in the fun and interacts with some guys. The Miller's family is pushed to the floor. The intruder knows that his daughter is missing, and the gang leader seems to know a lot about the Miller's family. He asks them if they know when their daughter will return home, to which Sarah replies that she doesn't know. He asks for their cell phones and Kyle gives them his cell phone and he makes a call. Sarah picks up the phone and tells them that she doesn't have her cell phone with her. The leader goes looking for it and Kyle gets angry and tries to fight him. He confronted Kyle and told him that he didn't want to see him interfering with their work in any way or he would be forced to put a bullet in his head. The leader already had Sarah's phone number, so he called her and asked one of his men to take her cell phone. He then asked for the alarm system code. Kyle gave them a code that was just acting real and was actually supposed to call the police. The leader already knew this, so Sarah gave the real code at the party. A teenage man shows Avery a safe full of cash and cocaine. He tries to seduce her but fails, and Avery hails a cab and leads the leader. Elias tells the women in the gang to come out and keep an eye on Avery. He reveals the wall safe and demands Kyle open it with the other gang members. Ty says they have 10 minutes. Elias tells Kyle that whatever he has in the safe is insured, so it won't be a problem and it will be a win-win situation. Kyle stalls for a while and then refuses. The men threaten Sarah and say they know everything about her. He tells Kyle that he knows he has a diamond in the safe that is smaller than his little finger but worth more than a Porsche. Sarah cowers in fear and asks Kyle to open the safe. Kyle asks him who will cut the diamond. Elias tells him that he should do as he asks and not try to be clever with him. Kyle explains that the diamond has a micro laser code so it is easy to identify. The micro laser code so they can be easily traced because they are already brothers nationwide. Whoever they try to sell the diamonds to will know that they were stolen and if the robber kills Kyle or Sarah. They will be easily connected to the murders. This way they will be caught. One of the robbers will shoot Kyle, but Elias stops him and says that he wants to listen to what Kyle has to say. Mate further explains the diamond business and tries to discourage the thieves. Kyle tells them that there is no way they can sell the diamonds in the market. Even if they remove the code on the diamonds, no one will want to buy the stolen diamonds from them. Kyle says that if he gives up the diamonds will become nothing but stones. The diamonds will be nothing but a shining stone to them, so he asks them again who cuts the diamonds for them. One of the goons tells them that every minute they stay more than the first 20 minutes will increase the chances by 10% for them to get caught. They only have 6 minutes left for the first 20 minutes to end. Kyle then tells them that he can help sell the diamonds. They can take the diamonds and Kyle will sell them for them. He will also claim the insurance, so they both have to pay the insurance. The younger thug, Jonah, said that they were not crazy to steal the diamonds first and then return them to him to sell. He said that he saw Kyle receiving a lot of cash and the gang was supposed to just take the money and leave the diamonds. He locks eyes with Sarah, and she recognizes him as a technician from a security firm who had recently worked in their home. Elias informs Kyle that he made him an offer, which Elias refused, so he insists that Kyle open the safe. Stubbornly, Kyle continues to refuse, knowing the men have threatened Sarah. He suggests that they release her first, and then he will comply. Sarah, however, tells Kyle to open the safe and give them what they want, fearing for their lives. Kyle warns them that they have guns, which gives them the power to kill, but he can make them rich. He proposes that they let Sarah take the car and drive away from the house, while he opens the safe upstairs. Meanwhile, Jonah watches a home video of the Miller family, undresses, and puts on a purple dress. Elias reveals a loaded syringe filled with a medical paralysis drug. Jonah points a revolver at his teammate, instructing him to leave Sarah alone, and storms off to the kitchen in anger. Sarah, an architect, serves Jonah a chilled drink, and they engage in small talk. In another flashback, Jonah stops by the pool on his way out, smokes, and glances back at Sarah. Avery exits the cab near the gate and attempts to return inside. Hal, in anguish on the floor, realizes he misplaced his spectacles. Ty threatens to sever his thumb to use it on the biometric safe scanner. Elias removes his disguise in the kitchen and tries to approach Sarah, revealing that she had previously had a romantic encounter with his younger brother. He urges her to persuade Kyle to unlock the safe. Sarah manages to steal the syringe. Avery enters the house, notices the intrusion, and tries to escape but is captured. Kyle pleads for his daughter's safety, and the Millers gather in Kyle's home office. Elias breaks down, explaining that he needs $180,000 for a new kidney for his mother. Sarah uses the syringe to immobilize Elias in an arm lock, but Jonah shoots his shotgun, injuring Sarah. Despite the chaos, Sarah convinces the criminals to release Avery. Sarah, now in control, demands that Kyle unlock the safe and put an end to the situation. When Kyle opens the safe, they discover that it is completely empty. The criminals are shocked and enraged, with Elias crushing Kyle's hand and demanding the money. Kyle bitterly reveals that he invested all his money in his property, mortgages, and debts. He claims to have been laid off and explains that they are out of money. Outside, Avery approaches the barrier in an attempt to escape but is apprehended once again. Elias opens Kyle's bag and discovers the diamonds. Bills in hand, Kyle admits that he doesn't actually possess the gems and is merely a middleman who uses credit. Someone calls Ty to check on the progress, and they have another hour left. Elias informs Kyle that they, too, are in a tight spot. Petal, feeling anxious and desperate, suggests taking whatever they can get. They come across a photograph of Sarah wearing stunning jewelry. Sarah shows them the necklace and requests that they honor their agreement and leave. Meanwhile, Kyle and Avery, bound and gagged, struggle to reach the Zippo lighter and attempt to burn through the duct tape while maneuvering their hands behind their backs. In the next room, Sarah pleads with Jonah to let them go, promising to do anything for him. The invaders approach the Millers once more, with Jonah instructing Elias that Sarah and Avery must not be harmed. In a flashback, Jonah exits the Millers' pool and kisses Sarah. Kyle informs the men that the necklace is a 99-cubic zirconium forgery and reveals that he sold the genuine item for the money. The fake jewelry shatters when tested with the rifle's butt. Elias informs Kyle that Sarah had a sexual encounter with his brother, which explains their presence upstairs. Avery argues with Petal, Sarah flees, and Kyle throws a chair through the glass, triggering the security system while the security firm calls to check in. Ty beats up Kyle, and Jonah intervenes to buy Kyle some time. Kyle manages to deflect the needle, causing Ty to inject himself and collapse. Kyle grabs the shotgun and staggers away. Elias rescues Sarah from the nearby woods. Jonah demands the security code and searches for Avery, who is hiding in the remodeling room. Jonah sneaks up behind Kyle to retrieve the shotgun, and Avery is compelled to provide the password to the suspicious security phone representative. Elias shoots Kyle in the thigh and explains his predicament, attempting to sell $180,000 worth of narcotics that were stolen. The traffickers want their money back and have sent Ty along. Kyle has a screenshot print of Sarah and Jonah kissing in his briefcase, which Petal discovers. Elias assaults Kyle and Sarah, and Jonah steps in to fight his brother. A security guard arrives outside and requests a signature for the alarm event. The guard proves obstinate, so Elias opens the gate. Sarah tries to explain to Kyle, but he dismisses her. Jonah shoots the guard in the head at the front entrance. Avery, panicking, claims to know where they can find at least $200,000. She offers to accompany Petal back to the home party to retrieve it. Jonah is skeptical, but Elias agrees. When the chaos subsides in the house, Jonah volunteers to look after Sarah and Avery. From Sarah's perspective, a flashback shows Jonah being excessively nice. She insisted that he leave after their kiss by the swimming pool before anything further happened. Kyle instructs Jonah to transport Sarah and Avery to safety. As Avery drives the Porsche, she purposefully crashes into a post, loosening Petal's seat belt at the last second. Ty regains consciousness in the house and prevents Jonah and Sarah from leaving. Avery is bleeding in the car, but Petal remains unconscious. Kay continues to assault Jonah until Elias shoots him, and a dying Ty reveals that Jonah orchestrated Elias's drug heist and had previously returned it for $10,000. Elias, taken aback, has Kyle and Sarah make their way to the Renault room alone, but Elias catches up and starts strangling Sarah. Jonah rushes to her aid, and during the chaos, the plastic sheeting splits open, revealing a massive stash of cash hidden in the wall. Avery arrives with a pistol, and Jonah shoots and kills his brother during the standoff. Tara consoles Kyle, who is severely injured. Kyle explains that he was concealing the money for his family. Petal ignites a puddle of solvent while Jonah collects the cash. Flames engulf Jonah as Kyle stands up and nails Jonah's shoes to the ground before collapsing. Jonah asks Sarah for help but then grabs her, intending to die with her. Kyle shoots Jonah, who dies in the flames. Sarah and Kyle manage to escape alive as the house burns down, and on the lawn, the Millers embrace each other.